Notes to the public. If you wish to address the council, please complete the public wishes to address the council form located on either end of the counter and give it to either the chairman or the council clerk prior to the beginning of the meeting. All comments should be addressed to the council as a whole. Addressing individual council members or staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words and actions, and comments should be limited to the issues and cannot involve individuals or staff-related matters. All cell phones and electronic devices used to communication should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. I'd like to call the meeting of the Terrebonne Parish Council to order, and we'll have the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Steve Trosclair.
Lord, be with us during this meeting in dealing with the agenda at hand. May we treat each other's opinions with respect. May we learn how to reject ideas without rejecting people, and share visions although we may not share the same means. May this meeting be for each of us an opportunity to be servants of the people we represent. We humbly ask this in your name, in Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Brandy, can we please get a roll call?
Mr. Harding. Here. Mr. Michaud. Present. Mr. Amity.
Here.
Ms. Domingue.
Here.
Mr. Darren Guidry.
Here.
Mr. Babin.
Here.
Mr. Dirk Guidry.
Here.
Mr. Trosclair.
Here.
Mr. Tillman. Here. Madam Chair, you have a quorum present.
Thank you. Approve the minutes of the regular council session held on December 21st, 2022. Moved by Mr. John Abadi, second by Mr. Gerald Michel. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Distribute the minutes of the regular council session held on January 11th, 2023. That has been done. Approve accounts payable list for 1/17/2023 and 1/23/2023. Moved by Mr. Gerald Michel, second by Mr. Dirk Guidry. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 1, general business. A proclamation proclaiming the week of January 29th to February 4th, 2023 as Catholic Schools Week in Terrebonne Parish. Mr. Michel.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman. And it is with great pleasure that I read this proclamation dedicated to the Catholic schools in Terrebonne Parish. And also, before I start, I'd like to recognize Superintendent of Catholic Schools, Dr. Mark Williams. And the proclamation reads, whereas Catholic schools provide their students with excellent academic and spiritual educations, along with opportunities to engage with their local communities. And whereas with the complete education process, Catholic schools are important to the formation of good citizens and good leaders who will have positive impacts on the parish, the state, and the world. And whereas Catholic Schools Week is celebrated nationally to recognize the students, families, faculty, staff, and communities that participate in and benefit from their local Catholic schools. And whereas the theme for 2023's recognition is Catholic Schools, Faith, Excellence, Service, principles that can be foundational pillars to guide the lives of students, a blueprint for good government, and a positive impact on the quality of life in Terrebonne Parish. Now therefore be it resolved by the Terrebonne Parish Council on behalf of Parish President Gordon E. Dove and the entire Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government that the week of January 29th to February 4th, 2023 be hereby proclaimed Catholic School Week in Terrebonne Parish, presented this 25th day of January 2023 and signed by Parish President Gordon Dove and by Council Chairwoman Jessica Domingue, representing the entire Parish Council. So let's. Yeah, it's Vanderbilt and St. Gregory. St. Francis is not here, so St. Bernadette.
Not here.
Go get it. All
Thank y'all.
Dr. Williams, do you want to say anything?
I would just like to say thank you. I would just like to say thank you to each and every one of you for your service to our community. The board meetings, answering constituents, and all that comes with that is not all, joyful all the time. And the fact that you are sitting up here and representing all of us here, we are very grateful. And thank you for acknowledging us. Thank you.
Yes. 1 minute. I would like to just say thank you, and sometimes having this job is twofold because I get to sit as a representative of our parish, but I also get to sit as a parent with 2 small children in Catholic school, and so I just definitely want to appreciate all of you guys and all the hard work you do because I know what goes into it every single day. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Item B, a proclamation proclaiming Arbor Day in Terrebonne Parish on January 28th, 2023, and urging citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and the future generations. And I am very pleased and humbled to be able to read this proclamation. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Architecture established a special way to be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and world, and whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, and moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, Mr. Gordon E. Dove of the parish, the Terrebonne Parish, do hereby proclaim January 28th, 2023 as Arbor Day in the parish of Terrebonne, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day in the support effort to promote our trees and woodlands, and furthermore urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. And this proclamation is signed by Parish President Gordon Dove and myself, as well as endorsed by the entire Terrebonne Parish Council. And whoever's going to come accept that, please come up. Let's accept that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Pat Gordon, I'm the chairman of the Terrebonne Parish Tree Board. It's kind of a different arrangement for me. But we've had this tree board now for probably 15, 20 years. Started years ago, started having the tree giveaway. Apache Land Company has been very instrumental in this project with us, and thank you for the proclamation. But also this Saturday, we will have the annual tree giveaway on the 28th at 9 o'clock at the main library. And we also are going to have 200 trees to give away, about 500 saplings that Apache has donated. And I just want to bring to your attention, too, that the state now is promoting what they call nature-based drainage solutions. And part of that is planting trees. Part of that is barrier island construction. And like the living mitigation that you'll have on the agenda tonight. All of that is nature-based solutions. And we have changed the mission statement of the tree board. And I just want to read that planting trees can be a solution to combating climate change, serve to improve stormwater management and drainage, and increase property values. And also, of course, a source of joy and spiritual renewal. We do have some openings on the tree board, and at the tree giveaway this Saturday, if anyone's interested, we can give them applications and tell them where to go to fill out online to be a tree board member. So again, thank you for the proclamation.
Thank you. Do we have any lights? Item 2, staff reports. Ratifying the parish president Gordon E. Dove's appointment of Mr. Jules P. Hebert Jr. as parish attorney and the following as assistant parish attorneys: Brian Marceau, Derek Buttigieg, Brianna Williams Ogeron, Patrick Yancey, Courtney Aycock, Vincent DeGate, Kentley Fairchild, Chris Ernie, Gary Williams, Craig Landry, Tanner McGee, and Michelle Neal. Moved by Mr. Steve Trosclair, second by Mr. John Amity. Can we please get a roll call vote?
Mr. Harding. Mr. Michaud.
Yay.
Mr. Amity. Ms. Domingue.
Yay.
Mr. Darren Guidry. Mr. Babin. Mr. Dirk Guidry. Mr. Trosclair. Mr. Tillman. Madam Chair, we have 9 votes for yay.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Mr. Jules, would you like to say something?
And y'all can hold it to me very quick. I would just like.
So, Mr. Jules, are you charging us by the minute here?
Well, and that may be, we might be till midnight. Listen, on behalf of myself and the entire legal staff, thank y'all once again for your vote of confidence. And I hope y'all do realize that I try to give 110%. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hebert. Yes, Mr. Guidry, you have a,
Yeah, I just wanted to recognize Mr. Peter Rosan's, one of our constables for the 311 Ellendale area, is in the audience, so I just wanted to welcome him here. Thanks.
thank you, Mr. Guidry. Mr. Michaud.
Since Mr. Hebert's given 110%, Ms. Candace, you only have to give 90%. That's just a reference to an earlier meeting we had, sorry.
Item 3, public wishes to address the council. We don't have any speaker cards, Ms. Brandy? Okay. All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Item 8, Public Services Committee.
Yeah, I make a motion that the council accept the recommendation for the public service committee held on January 23rd, and I have no public hearing. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Harding and a second by Mr. Amity. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Budget and Finance Committee, Mr. Dirk Guidry.
I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee held on January 23rd, 2023, and to have one public hearing. Introduce an ordinance to amend the 2023 adopted operating budget, 5-year capital outlay budget, and budgeted positions for the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items and to provide for related matters. Item 1, Williams Avenue Multi-Use Path, $65,791. Item 2, Valhalla Shire Use Path, $614,000. Item 3, Housing and Human Services, $69,436. A, Transfer Grant Rider, grade 206. Item 4, Valhalla Extension, $200,000. Item 5, Elliott Jones Canal Pump Station, $108,985. Item 6, Home of Fire Department, $3,130. Item 7, Animal Shelter, $1,000, and call a public hearing on said matter on February 8, 2023 at 6:30 p.m.
We have a motion by Mr. Dirk Guidry and a second by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item C, the Policy, Procedure, and Legal Committee, Mr. Gerald Michel.
Thank you. I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Policy, Procedure, and Legal Committee held on January 23rd, 2023, and have one public hearing, giving notice of intent to adopt an ordinance to dedicate and accept the maintenance operation of the streets, drainage servitudes, utilities, gas, sewer, and rights-of-way for Summerfield Place subdivision, addendum number 18, Phase B. Energize and accept the streetlights and to incorporate the extension of Newsom Drive and the extension of Rebecca Drive into the enhanced 911 emergency response system for the purpose of providing a better means of locating addresses, and call for a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, February 8th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m.
We have a motion by Mr. Gerald Michelle and a second by Mr. Darren Gidry. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 5, streetlights.
As per.
Item 6, appointments to various boards, committees, and commissions. A, TITA, 1 vacancy and 3 expired terms, 1 representing each of the following: Parish President, Chamber of Commerce, and SCIA. Mr. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 6, TITA, 1 vacancy and 3 expiring terms, 1 representing each of the following: Parish President, Chamber of Commerce, and SCIA. Mr. James J.J. Buquet III, representing SCIA, submits application and resume for consideration, and Mr. Michael Lewis submits application and resume for consideration.
Open, close, and appoint. Go ahead. Yeah, open, close, and appoint.
Motion to open, close. Motion to open, close, and appoint by Mr. Alvin Tillman, second by Mr. Danny Babin, and to hold the other open.
I got it right.
Yes, sir, Mr. Michelle.
Mr. Michael Lewis is under which one of the categories? Parish President, Chamber of Commerce, SCIA?
Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Yes, sir.
Mr. Gidry, could you come up just a second, please, sir? Thank you for coming up, Mr. Gidry. I know we had a conversation, you and I, a while back about the membership and the way the stagger of the membership. Is that something that you're going to be able to address, clean up?
It's something that we will have to get it in order, because a couple of these are going to fill, Mr. Lewis is going to fill a term that is not expired, so his will go, but Ms. Tammy and I have been working on that to where we start to have more frequency roll off every 3 years.
Because when TITA was redone, I mean, I thought that it was all done where you would have staggered 3, 3, and 3. And
Again, that
for
was
some reason it didn't
right.
happen, and I think it would behoove you and TITA to get it back into.
Oh, absolutely.
I know you're working on that.
Yeah.
Goal.
Yeah. So we'll change out 7 people from August of 2022 to September of 2023. So we'll get it straight and we'll get it going in the right direction, and we'll have a good, strong board to lead this parish in economic development.
Good, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Cohen, and you're doing a great job. Item B, Homa Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, 1 vacancy due to resignation, representing the Regional Military Museum. Miss Yvonne Bro Jones submits application and resume for consideration.
Motion to appoint Ms. Bro Jones.
Motion to, do we have a second? Motion to open, close, and appoint Ms. Jones. We have a motion by Mr. Dirk Gidry and second by Mr. John Amity. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item C, Recreation District 1 Board, 1 expired term, Mr. Peter P. Verde III expresses his interest to be reappointed. Motion to open, close, and reappoint by Mr. Gerald Michelle, second by Mr. John Amity. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item D, Recreation District Number 8 Board, 1 expired term on 2/25/23 and 1 vacancy due to resignation. Mr. Johnny L. Marks expresses his interest in being reappointed. Ms. Carletta Bailey submits application and resume for consideration.
Open, close, and appoint, Ms. Bailey, Mr. Marks, consideration, because, it's gonna actually expire in 2/25.
And he's expressing interest to be reappointed. So are you making a motion?
2/25.
Yeah.
We're gonna,
He started his application and expressed his concern about being reappointed, so we put it on the agenda.
Right. Put it on the agenda, but it doesn't expire until the 25th. So even though we can actually appoint, Ms. Bailey, technically, Mr. Marks is not really off. So haven't we had these things come up before, whereas, it seems to be a big problem. So I would open, close the point, Ms. Bailey and Mr. Marks, if that's the case.
I'll second that.
Okay, all right. So we have a motion by Mr. Harding and a second by Mr.
Wait.
Okay.
Open, close the point. Ms. Bailey and Mr. Marks.
Yes. Okay. All right, so we have a motion to open, close, and appoint Ms. Bailey and Mr. Marks by Mr. Carl Harding and a second by Mr. Dirk Gidry. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item E, Recreation District 10 Board, 1 vacancy due to resignation. Ms. Martha Gidry submits application and resume for consideration. Ms. Sierra Dominguez submits application and resume for consideration. Mr. Renard J. Gibson submits application and resume for consideration.
To open, close, and vote.
Open, close, and vote, second. Second by, open, close, and vote by Mr. Danny Babin, second by Mr. Dirk Gidry. All in favor? Any opposed? Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Harding,
Yeah. We have,
E, Recreation District 10.
okay, yeah. Recreation 10, vacancy due to Ms. Gibson, submitted application, resume.
You just gotta vote.
Yeah.
Which one?
Ms. Gibson, I only have one here.
No, there's 3.
There's 3.
So that's 4.
Gibson.
Mr. Michel,
Ms. Gidry, Martha Gidry.
Mr. Amity,
Martha Gidry?
Ms. Doming,
Miss Martha Gidry.
Mr. Darren Gidry,
Ms. Martha Gidry.
Mr. Babin,
Ms. Gidry.
Mr. Dirk Gidry,
Ms. Gidry?
Mr. Trosclair,
Ms. Gidry.
Mr. Tillman. Madam Chair, we have 8 votes for Ms. Gidry, 0 votes for Ms. Dominguez, and 1 vote for Mr. Gibson.
Congratulations, Miss Gidry. Is Miss Gidry in the audience? No. Well, congratulations to her. Item F, Coto Fire Protection District, 2 expiring terms. Miss Linda Watson expresses her interest of being reappointed.
Motion to open, close, and appoint,
Second.
and hold the other.
Second.
Motion to open, close, and reappoint, and appoint, and hold the other over by Mr. Amity, second by Mr. Dirk Gidry. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item G, Terrebonne Parish Tree Board, 3 expiring terms on 2/23/23 and 3 vacancies due to resignation. Ms. Monica M. Harris expresses her interest of being reappointed. Mr. Patrick Gordon Sr. expresses his interest in being reappointed, and Mr. Barton Jeffron expresses his interest in being reappointed.
Open, close, and reappoint.
Motion to open, close, and reappoint by Mr. Danny Babin, second by Mr. Gerald Michel. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 7, vacancies to various boards, committees, and commission. A, Recreation District Number 5 Board, 1 expiring term. Recreation District Number 6 Board, 1 vacancy and 1 expired term. Fire Protection District Number 5, 1 expired term. Fire Protection District Number 6, 1 vacancy due to resignation. Fire Protection District Number 8, 2 expired terms. Bayou Blue Fire Protection District Board, 1 expired term. Coto Fire Protection District Board, 1 expired term. Schriever Fire Protection District Board, 1 expired term. Home of Terrebonne Public Trust Finance, 2 expired terms. TITA, 2 expired terms. Terrebonne Parish Tree Board, 3 vacancies due to resignation. Item 8, announcements. Yes, Mr. John Amity.
Do you have something to go first? Thank you, Madam Chair. For those who are looking to get their GED, working with the Adult Education Center up here in Bayou Cane, Vision Christian Center in Berg will be starting a class. They're going to have the full class up and running by August, but they're going to be starting shortly doing English, math, and for those who can only speak Spanish that would like to learn English, they're going to have a Spanish to English class as well. You can contact the church. I don't remember the number right off the top of my head, And if you're interested in that, what that'll do, it'll save the people from down the bayous of Montague, Pontchartrain, and Little Caillou from having to drive all the way up to town. Of course, if those on Dulac and Dularge want to make the cross trip, they're more than welcome as well. But I think this is going to be a benefit for the community, especially for those that have part-time jobs and have to run all the way to Houma to work on their GED and then get back down the bayou for their jobs, or vice versa. So if you're interested in that, please look that up. If you're not sure what to do, contact me. My information's on the parish website, and I'd be happy to point you in the right direction.
Mr. Michel.
Thank you. Two things. First of all, if anyone in the public wishes to address the council, they can come up, fill out a card, they can speak to the council. And depending on the situation, we may or may not be able to address your concerns with you. However, if a week or so before, you contact the council office and speak to the council clerk and get a specific agenda item placed on the agenda, then we'll be at liberty to discuss your item openly at the meeting and without breaking any public meetings laws. So consider contacting the council clerk and getting the item actually placed as an agenda item. And secondly, if you're able, please go out and give blood for those who are needed and are not able. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Michel. Any other announcements? No? If not, I would like to thank the Terrebonne Parish School Board and the superintendent for allowing us to utilize their space, and hopefully we are back in our regular meeting room in our meetings in 2 weeks. We're having our AV equipment upgraded, and so I know a lot of people have trouble hearing and seeing our meetings, and so this should fix all those problems. So thank you very much. Monthly engineering reports. As per.
Motion to take a 3-minute recess?
All right, motion to take a 3-minute recess, Mr. Gerald Michel. Second by Mr. John Amity. All in favor? Any opposed? We are in recess until 6:30.
Might be good when we go back around to explain, since it's explain why we took a 3-minute recess.
Yeah.
It's an educational thing for the people about law, we can't do it before 6:30.
Right, yep.
Advertise that way.
Yep. Time enough for one chocolate.
Wakati huo kuna hilo man.
Miss Brandon. Sean, you want to make a motion to go into 6:30?
Hey, Corley, why you gotta charge so much? Cause so much trouble, man.
All right.
You got it? Okay, all right. Get ready to take your slack, man.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we go back in at 6:30 o'clock public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. John Amity and a second by Mr. Darren Gidry. All in favor? Any opposed? And just so the public understands why we took that short break, by law, we have to wait until 6:30 to go into public hearing because it's actually noted on our agendas. So item A, an ordinance authorizing the parish president to accept and enter into servitude agreements right away or explorate as necessary to secure the rights necessary to accomplish the TPCG Lake Boudreaux Living Mitigation CDBG DR LA Safe Project Phase 2. Public once, public twice, third time public.
Close.
Motion to close by Mr. Dirk Gidry and second by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor? Any opposed?
Motion adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Dirk Gidry, second by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
I'm sorry.
Item B, an ordinance to restructure Chapter 14, Article 26 of the Terrebonne Parish Code on nuisance and abatement by amending Section 14-26 to update the definition of abandoned junk vehicles. Public once, public twice, three times public. Motion to close by Mr. Gerald Michel, second by Mr. Carl Harding. Motion to adopt, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Motion to adopt by Mr. Gerald Michel, second by Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor? Any opposed? Oh, we have a light, Mr. Carl.
Mr. Pulaski. I see Ms. Deanna. Can I call her up? Sure.
Miss Dion, would you mind coming up? You look so comfy back there.
Carly, you messing with somebody else up? Damn, you messing with the women tonight, Carly.
Test. Okay. I think we didn't have enough time to actually try to clarify this in reference to me. And just recently, I had a particular incident. Now, some things now that we actually voted to accept. Well, we'll have a vote on it. With here, I'm reading. It's promote and protect the general welfare, safety, health, peace, and good order of the parish. And it says property. And there are other areas that says property. And we get over here, it says, when we look at direction, stuff like that, we speak of on the roads. I know that we was trying to expand this to have more reach with the nuisance and give us an opportunity to take care of some other matters that we didn't. Number one, we didn't have enough time. It was too long to deal with it. And I was just concerned because the situation came up when someone had something in their yard. And it wasn't on the sidewalk, it wasn't on the street. And I see that the parish, and I'll ask this first, the parish can go in that yard and tag it?
Yes.
And tag it?
Yes.
So we were saying public, and we're going on private to tag it. And my thoughts was, if there's a piece of property that the house is somewhat of a nuisance, and there's vehicles out there, and you only just go to the vehicles, I would think that they would actually go as the property as a whole, not an individual car, a car that's in there. So if the parish, they would actually come in and get someone to haul that off the private property, and we then would actually hold that until we go through everything like nuisance and abetments to find out the owners of the car. Because most oftentimes we have houses, and it takes so long to get in touch with the people with the houses. So we'll be able to automatically take that vacant car and actually have it junked, or what's the process with that?
So what we do, we will tag the vehicle, yes, and we will actually get a towing company to remove the vehicle and stow it at their particular business. Currently, we don't stow the vehicles.
Okay, and I'm saying that the notify the owner with a certified notification.
Yeah, so the way we notify the owner, yes, is through warnings and citations, and then we also tag the vehicles.
And tag the vehicle. So my question would be there, what would be, have we ever considered the cost of actually that we would have to recover, or that person would have to go to where the vehicle is stored? They would have to pay a fee on that, or is that a flat rate that the parish is actually?
No, the parish, in this instance, we do not have any fees because the towing company stores it, and then they normally have to deal with the tow company.
Okay, and that's after 30 days. I was just concerned about that because I see a lot of, well, I'll be honest about this, flat out in my neighborhood, there are a lot of guys that work on cars. There are a lot of cars that are in people's yards. There are a lot of vacant houses. There are a lot of houses that are dilapidated that I really like to see it cleaned up. But I see that we're taking a reach out, and then like this other instance where we had a vacant house. A house could be considered as a nuisance, but then you're not tagging the house, but you're tagging the car. So you're tagging the car, and I look at the property as a whole. And I would actually think that you would actually go at the whole piece of property, because I don't want, me personally, I don't think that we should be just towing off cars on private property and have to go through so much of a process. I know we're doing that. I had pictures of it. I went by there. It's just some circumstances that I believe that, just want to bring it out. I want to clear out all the nuisances and abatements and abandoned cars just like everyone else. I just want the process. And anything that I actually do, and it seems as if that I'm actually trying to protect or just hinder the process to clearing out everything, no. My number one objective here is protect the people that are in this community. Do not create no extra hardships, because there's some parity that goes on with the process. Same piece of property I go and look at yesterday, I go within the same block. And then there's a piece of property that's not even on no type of list that I've actually known of. So this person, when I talk to an individual that's in the public, when they get a letter, and I think we need to address this, they get a letter and they go walk out their house and they see somebody else that don't have a letter. And I think the system, and maybe my constituents, because we've talked about my colleagues, maybe we can actually hopefully get this process worked out a little bit, because we have that. And of course, I want blighted property to go, because if I live next to Mr. Guidry and he got his car all jacked up every day, and it's gonna bring my property value down too. And then, so we wanna actually not cause no hardships to anyone, but I don't want us to get in the business of going on private property without the proper thing. I would feel violated, because this guy felt violated, and I didn't know the circumstances. I did call your office, and me and Chris, we talked about that. And so we want to just look at the people and look at the whole neighborhood, and we try to get this nuisance abatement thing just kind of nipped in the bud, because there are a lot of pieces of property out there, and I want to see all of it cleared out, but I don't want just certain people that have hardships that they just caught in the bind.
Actually, so yeah, as you state that, you may be aware that we have expanded the nuisance abatement division to do just what you're saying. We are going to take a more proactive approach at properties. In the past, we've only relied on complaints from the citizens. And so now we're actually going to go out into the areas and identify those violations and begin notifying owners and to bring properties into compliance in just that manner. So we're just trying to revamp it, and at the same time, we also have consideration and compassion on both sides. We have consideration for the complainant, and we have consideration for the property owners. So we work as well with them as we can within the limits and then beyond, so that is actually what we're in the process of doing now and working towards.
And I appreciate you coming here, and I appreciate Chris also, but we just want to put it out there, create the conversation, and we want to clean Homer up, and we want to revitalize Homer. But it's going to be a process that's kind of balanced a little bit, that's all. I'm just kind of make that point.
And that's what we're working towards.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. We have a few other lights as well. Mr. Danny Babin?
Yeah, Brianna, thanks for coming, and just quickly, I spoke to Chris the other night, and I was pleased to hear that we have well over 300 condemnations that y'all are working on right now.
Yes.
That means we're out there trying to clean up Terrebonne Parish, okay?
Yes, yes.
And I know we've increased the department, which is gonna give you a little more help. I think we need a couple more inspectors right now.
Yes.
Hopefully, we can get some hired, but that's a good move, and I wanted to applaud y'all for that, okay? Second thing is again, Chris and I were talking before the meeting, I'm having some problems with the scrappers, okay? And Bobtown, Shreppers Road, and all over the parish, don't get me wrong. And evidently, there's some ordinances which I was unaware of, and Chris kind of brought to my attention, about those places having to be encircled with a privacy fence and things like that. I just want to get with you over the next couple of weeks or so and see what we need to do to maybe to address some of this. Because I had actually 3 calls this week just from the Bobtown area. And Chris knows the one, and I'm sure you know the one down there as well.
Yes.
Okay? And just, again, now that you're increasing the department, and hopefully you can get some more inspectors, maybe we can get some of these things addressed.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babin. Mr. Tillman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Ms. Stewart. Well, listen, I'm very happy to support this ordinance. But I'm gonna say a few things just to kind of get some clarification for the public. I know we have a team of people that's going to be going out into the communities to take a proactive stand to try and clean communities up. Now, how will you guys conclude that vehicle is abandoned and that vehicle is on the property? What's the process you're going to be using?
When you say that the vehicle is abandoned and on the property?
Yes, well, I think Mr. Harding.
Private property?
Yes, on private property.
Well, if it's not on the street, if it's not on public right-of-way, on the sidewalk, or on the side of the road and the property, then we can clarify that it is actually on the person's property.
And that's what I want to get clear, because I was listening to him, and my conclusion is that the property he's talking about, the car is actually on the property in the yard. If that's my understanding. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure we got a clarification on understanding of that's what he's talking about. Now, although I've sent them many times when I was here, complaints on vehicles that was on personal property. And, of course, Parish went out, and some of those complaints that went out, and they really dealt with it. But now, I recall one time I went out, I got a complaint from a constituent, and the gentleman had about 4 cars in the yard. And I mean, I gotta tell you, they look awful, all right? But when I got there, he actually started each one of those cars up and also produced insurance for them, you know? So when we have these situations out there, we wanna make sure that we understand that, have the public to understand that we're not just coming out to take your car or anything like that. But if you got an abandoned structure, a car that's abandoned, well, we want you to kind of let us know that the car is running, because sometimes they don't have wheels on them, but you know, it's a nuisance in the community. Now, the other thing that he was addressing in terms of a complaint as it relates to the vehicle, and he's saying that the parish has sent out a complaint or address a complaint as it relates to the house or whatever property there are. I don't agree with that. I certainly don't agree with it. I think that each complaint should be on its own merit. If a constituent sends in a complaint on a car, no, I don't think that should automatically trigger the parish to go after the house. You know, that's a different complaint. So we just want to try to get those things clear, that the public understand that, yes, if there's a complaint on a car, that doesn't mean that if the house is in such a condition that at that time, that complaint on that car will address the complaint as it relates to that structure. So there's 2 different complaints.
Well, that is how we once viewed it. If they complained on one thing, then that's what we considered. But as I'm stating now, then as taking a more proactive approach to it, why would we not consider all that is going on at that time? So that is how we're going to begin to look at things. If they're calling for one issue and there are other issues, then we will address those other issues.
So what means will that constituent have to address that complaint? Let's say the house, is an abandoned structure, and, will they have an opportunity to, perhaps work on the house, bring it up to code like we used to do?
Oh, yes, always,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, so they still have that opportunity?
Oh, yes,
to do that, okay,
yes.
Good. But as it relates to the car, there's no opportunity that lies there, I'm assuming.
Yeah, they always have opportunity. We don't just
So
go
what is
in
that
and,
opportunity on that car?
a vehicle you have, and that, it may be changing and I'm not totally clear on it, but for private property, it's 24 hours or something like that. So what happens is we'll notify the owner, give them their deadline to remove or repair the vehicle. And then if not, then we will tag it and have it removed.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
do one thing for me, and this is something that keeps checks and balance for me, and I'm asking you to do that for me as we speak today. Whatever you have, complaints as it relates to a District 1, I would like you also to send that to me, because I had the opportunity to talk to them as well, before it gets to our meeting, so kind of do that for me if you can.
I'm sorry, you want to receive, any complaints we receive, you would like
If
to,
for District 1, I would like to have those complaints sent over to me as well.
okay, I hope no 8 other districts would want that, because that would be a bit much at times, but we will definitely consider and try to oblige.
And y'all used to, so I appreciate you do it. Because it
Yeah, but we're gonna have a whole lot more going
I find a
on.
lot of times when the councilmen go out and talk to them, it kind of helps them along the way, and it kind of.
It helps us also.
Yeah, it helps y'all also. So
Definitely.
I want to be a part of the process to help them and help you guys as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman.
got some.
Mr. Steve Trusclair.
Yes, Dion, don't we already have inspectors that can actually turn in a report just driving by and seeing derelict structures?
Yeah, we do, but we just did not use that approach in the past. So, yeah, they
But that
work.
is already an option or a
Yes.
situation that you can utilize and have been from time to time.
From time to time, yes, yes.
So this is not nothing new, going up to a structure and deeming it qualifying for
Right.
nuisance,
Correct. No, this isn't new.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Dirk Gidry.
How about nuisance, how about abandoned vessels that I've been getting a lot of complaints of since the hurricane, that between Sierra Bridge and Boudreaux Canal Bridge, that they got a lot of sunk boats still in the waterways from the hurricanes. Does that fall under you, or that falls under a different thing?
Well, right now, I believe abandoned vessels are being handled through a FEMA program right now, so we're gonna assume that
But
those.
FEMA will go and pick these vessels up too?
Well, each one's gonna be handled on.
Because we have a
Chris
bunch of those,
Pulaski,
Chris.
Director of Planning and Zoning. So we do have and have had for a number of years the junk, or the sunken vessels as part of the nuisance abatement. But because of the storm, if it's determined, I would assume, like with the private property demolitions, the FEMA program is based on, was the vessel sunk as a result of the storm? So if FEMA determines that and it's eligible, then we could have it removed under that program. But if it's not, if it was sunken before the storm came along, then we would handle it through the nuisance abatement process.
So for these people with these sunk boats, it would be up to me mostly to go and tell them that they have a program with FEMA that will go pick these boats up?
Well, if they
I mean,
qualify.
I don't mind going to do it because
If they
I just,
qualify, I think what we need to do to better help all of you with that approach is we could send that information to you so that when you do go out to the community, you have a phone number, contact.
okay, if
info
you would,
just to
Chris,
get-
yeah, because and it's not big boats, it's a lot of the feed skips
Yeah.
and all that's been sunk, and we need to get them out of our waterways.
Definitely.
So if you would send it to me, I'd
Sure.
really appreciate that.
Sure, and I just to piggyback on what Dion was saying, one thing I've noticed in working with Dion and the group over there, communication is the key with them, whether we're talking about a junk vehicle or abandoned vehicle or tall grass. If you do get a letter and you have questions, or maybe there's some particular issue or reason, that's what the letter's for. That's why it's a warning out of the box and not a citation straight away. So you do have an opportunity, and they'll work with you. It's just a matter of communicating.
Right, because I'm gonna jump back with what Mr. Tillman said, that, he wants to be able to know in his district and go talk to that owner himself, because sometimes you can get better results by the councilman, because they know Mr. Tillman, you know? So if you could send it to me, and I could go talk to these people that have these boats instead of you guys going to see them first, I would sure appreciate that, because we know everybody that live in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harding.
Go back, and I appreciate everyone here, and like Mr. Tillman said, you know, I know people, and sometimes they're hard to get with, but living in the area, I know how to get in contact with those folk, and sometimes we don't even have to get here, but we have to do things according to the standards that's with nuisance abatement. That's what number one. Just like there are some people that live in the same neighborhood that don't get along, and the first time they get an opportunity, it's bickering between two people. Sometimes I have to intervene even with that to try to get two people to work together. So I would like to have some knowledge of that too. It does put some pressure on me. I can't say for my constituents, because most of the people that I go out there and I meet and I know, you know, and that's one person against the other one. I have to consider the situation. Hopefully I can call nuisance abatement and we can work that out like we have been doing. But y'all, you're doing a great job. It's just the fact that some of the things, we just got to twerk it a little bit.
Any other comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Motion adjourned by Mr. John Amity, second by Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor? Good night, everyone.
Hey, look.